Hare Krishna, Namaste. Chapter 12, which is entitled as Bhakti Yoga. Sloka 11, Part 3. Athaitad aśaktosi kartuṁ mad-yogam āśritaḥ sarva-karma-phala-tyāgaṁ tataḥ kuru yatātmavān. If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated. The third line of the sloka, sarva-karma-phala-tyāgaṁ, is the last discussion for us. Sarva means all, karma means activities, phala means results, tyāgaṁ means give up, which means giving up all results of one's activities, work. So 3 things we need to know. Number 1, what is that we have to give up? Number 2, what is the activities that we need to perform so we can give the result? Number 3, to whom we must give these results. So let's see these 3. Number 1, it is clear that it is not about giving up what we are doing, the activities, the acts, our work, our duty, but rather what we have to give up is the results that we attain through our activities. That has to be given up, which means we continue to do our duties. One cannot give up their duties, one cannot escape from their duties. In fact, there are certain acts we have to get that done. Can one go without bathing? Can one be without eating or breathing? Similarly, one ought to perform their prescribed daily and occasional duties, that is nitya karma and naimitika karma, and they do based on their varna ashrama dharma. And that addresses the second question, what type of activities one must perform, that is karma yoga. Giving up the result to who is the third question. So the answer is, give up the phalam, the result, the fruit of activities to Krishna. When one performs these activities, actions without attachment to the fruits thereof and dedicating them to Krishna, one's sins are destroyed. Once sins are destroyed, the mind gets purified. A purified mind can engage itself in meditation on the individual self, Atma. When such meditation is established steadily, direct realization, that's called Atma Sakshatkara, of the individual self takes place. And when this happens, exclusive bhakti, devotion, is generated automatically. Since Arjuna clearly said he can't fix his mind upon Krishna constantly, Krishna lowered the requirement to practice regulated bhakti, abhyasa yogam, by remembering Krishna's auspicious qualities. And still Arjuna was unable to do the abhyasa yoga. Then Krishna reduced that further and told Arjuna to do physical activities by engaging his body and senses in his service, in Krishna's service. And still Arjuna was not able to do that. Again, one important point to note here, whenever we say Arjuna not able to do that, let's understand Arjuna is a representative of all of us, but he himself is a very great soul. So let's not start thinking Arjuna to be an incapable person. It is us who are unable to do even simple things, not Arjuna. Arjuna is kind enough to play our role. That's all. Since Arjuna is unable to do even physical activities for Krishna, then Krishna further lowered and told that do your duty. You don't need to do anything for me. That is, do your varnashrama dharma by performing karma yoga. But do it with sarva-karma-phala-tyāgaṁ. This is the key point. Sarva-karma-phala-tyāgaṁ. That is sarva-karma-phala-tyāgaṁ. It is important that one does the karma yoga with sarva-karma-phala-tyāgaṁ. Why? Because Arjuna said that he cannot do any activities for Krishna. And Krishna responded, that's fine. Do it for you. Do your duties. That is nothing but karma yoga. Then if Arjuna does karma yoga as Krishna suggested, which he may be happy to do it, but he may start thinking that he is independent of Krishna. Therefore, he can do whatever he wants because he is the doer and he is the proprietor. Therefore, he can enjoy the fruits of his activities. If Arjuna gets into that program, then again it's going to pull him down further. It's not going to raise him to the next higher level. Any activities which is done without this consciousness will create karma. Any activity which is done with this sarva-karma-phala-tyāgaṁ will free one from further karmas. And not only that, it will also reduce the obstacles, the previous karmas. Therefore, Krishna says here, do your duty, your varnashrama dharma, your karma yoga, never to give that up, but do that as Bhagavad Aradhana Rupa, means do it as an offering unto me. Do that as a devotional service to me. And that is achieved when one applies the third line of the sloka, that is sarva-karma-phala-tyāgaṁ. Though in this line it only says give up the results of your karma, your activity, we have to include the other two which is not explicitly mentioned here. That is, not only the fruits has to be given up to Krishna, but also one should understand that they are not the doer. Number two, they are not the proprietor. And the third one is what we are discussing here in the third line, which is give the results of your activities to Krishna. To attain the Lord, it is pretty clear there's only one means. There's no multiple path. There's only one path. Finally, to attain the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. And that is Bhakti Marga, Bhakti Yoga, which gives a Parabhakti. To attain that, one needs to have Atma Sakshatkar, meaning a realization of self, one's individual Atma. For one to realize their Atma, one's consciousness has to be purified. That is Chitta Suddhi. For one to have Chitta Suddhi, one must perform their Karma Yoga. When one performs Karma Yoga, they must do it with Trivida Tyaga, kartuṁ mamata phala-tyāgaṁ. When one does their karma yoga in this way, one gets their chitta suddhi, meaning one's taste to enjoy the material things will go away. Rather, taste develops towards Atma, and when it develops, one's avidya, ignorance, is removed. The vasanas diminishes, which then makes one to qualify to realize their self, their position as servant of the Lord, and develop bhakti towards Krishna and get engaged in devotional service by doing physical activities, which then makes one to appreciate and remember Krishna's auspicious qualities. And then that leads that person to fix their mind completely at the lotus feet of Krishna with determination to attain only Krishna, nothing else. Let's be clear, at this juncture, Krishna is talking about karma yoga. We should know that Krishna is not telling Arjuna not to do bhakti yoga, but he is telling go back to do your karma yoga because you are not able to perform bhakti yoga. The reason you are not able to do bhakti yoga is because you are not identifying yourself as Atma. You are still in bodily conception. With this idea, it is hard for you to do any service to me. That's the reason why Krishna has recommended Arjuna to go and perform karma yoga. But that does not mean one does karma yoga and happily settle down in their life by being just a good person, charitable person, helping person, and having a comfortable life by enjoying whatever results that comes out of the activity by doing the karma yoga. The reason that Krishna recommended one to do karma yoga is because a person is not ready to apply what has been told earlier in the earlier sloka. That is in 10th sloka, Krishna said, engage your body and perform activities. Before that, Krishna said, practice regulated principles. Before that, Krishna said, fix your mind upon me all the time. None of this was able to be performed, and therefore Krishna told, perform your karma yoga, which is yours. In that way, when you perform karma yoga, that can elevate one to become qualified to perform bhakti yoga and attain Krishna as an ultimate goal. That is what Krishna is trying to set here. For that reason, Krishna is recommending one to do karma yoga to ultimately raise to the platform to perform unalloyed bhakti towards Krishna, bhakti yoga. So what one has to do is to perform karma yoga with triveda tyaga. Then the rest of the thing automatically happens. By performing karma yoga with triveda tyaga, one's chitta suddhi happens. That is purification of consciousness, one's existence. When that happens, one will be able to have control of dhyana, meditation. When one able to meditate upon Atma without any distraction and disturbances caused by the three modes, one will attain the Atma Sakshatkara. When this happens, then bhakti sprouts and attraction towards the Lord happens. And finally, one will be able to attain the Supreme Lord. But the fundamental principle is to identify ourselves as Atma, not as body. We are Jivatma, and the Supreme Lord is Super Soul, Paramatma. When we have this realization, then we will be easily able to relate ourselves with the Supreme Lord. In Tatpriya Chandrika, Swami Vedanta Desikan gives a very nice metaphor for us to understand this whole thing. Once there lived a prince. In his childhood, he went out of the palace to play. While he was playing out, somehow or the other, he got lost of his way back to home. Then this child was not sure where to go, how to find his parents. Some hunters who were passing by found this child and they brought him back to their place. Now the prince was completely under the care of these hunters who was taking care of him very nicely, and as the prince was growing among these tribes, he was eating their food, he was leading a life of their style and passing in this way his life. He forgot that he is son of a great king. He forgot he is a prince. Rather, he identified himself to be one among these tribes. One day, a noble person was passing through that way in the forest, could recognize this boy as a prince and informed him the details about who he is. After coming to know that he was indeed a prince, and when he could understand from this noble person the similarities between his father and him, he can relate it immediately. Thereupon, he developed a love towards his father. This happens automatically, and this happens only after understanding who he was and what are the relationship that he had with his father, how the father and he has many similarities. Then he was able to relate, and love for his father automatically comes. Similarly, a person who realizes the nature of Atma, individual self, the real nature, recognizes the similarities between himself and the Supreme Father. Then immediately thereupon he develops love for his father, and there is no any doubt on this one. And the noble person who comes is the Guru in our life, who comes and helps us by reminding us our true position, our true identity, and what are we supposed to do, and what is that we need to achieve in our life, and how to deal the current life, the obstacles that we are facing, so that we can successfully cross over the samsara and be with Krishna eternally, serving him in the spiritual world. To conclude, if one is unable to do the recommendations that's given by Krishna, not able to fix their mind, then one can start practicing regulated bhakti, abhyasa yogam, by remembering the auspicious qualities of Krishna. If one cannot do that, then one can perform physical activities by cleaning the temple, making garlands, constructing the temples, and so forth. If one cannot do a physical activities, then one engages in activities that meant for them. That is karma yoga. When a person does karma yoga, one must do it in the Trividatyaha consciousness, that I am not the doer, I am not the proprietor, I do not want a result out of my action. Which means Krishna is the doer, Krishna is the proprietor, and the results are offered to Krishna. When one does activities in this manner, their duties in this manner, their existence gets purified. Chitta Suddhi happens. When the Chitta Suddhi happens, one will be able to focus inward, that is towards individual self, Atma. When one able to focus on Atma, one will gradually come to a realization and have the experience of Atma, which is called Atma Sakshatkara. And when that happens, one will be able to understand that they are part and parcel of Krishna. And then we will be able to understand that we are eternal servant of Krishna. That is, we are not swatantra, meaning we are not independent. Rather, we are paratantra, meaning we are the servant and we are dependent on Krishna. When that realization comes, understanding comes, then one will be able to easily do services to Krishna through their body and senses. When they perform the services through body and senses, they will start appreciating the auspicious qualities of Krishna. His greatness, His simplicity, His compassion, His accessibility, His power, His lordship, many things. By appreciating His qualities, one develops attraction, love towards Krishna. And when the love is developed further, and one will be able to fix their mind constantly upon Krishna. When that happens, one's determination becomes stronger and stronger, wanting to attain Krishna sooner. They can't live in separation of Krishna any further. And this is the sequence that Krishna is recommending in 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th sloka. In the upcoming slokas, Krishna speaks many means to practice this, from which one can select that suits better for an individual. Athaitad aśaktosi kartuṁ mad-yogam āśritaḥ sarva-karma-phala-tyāgaṁ tataḥ kuru yatātmavān. Namaste. Hare Krishna.